My stomach literally just rumbled on
That was your stomach?
Yeah, that was my stomach.
I thought it was a bus. I was like, oh, the traffic is terrible.
Is this your first ever English-speaking podcast?
I think so. I think I've never done a podcast before in English.
Babe, we're popping the virginity today. It's going to be great.
Oh my goodness. I feel younger.
She's reborn. It's happening.
She's a teenager.
Wow, we're starting as we need to really go.
Yeah, that's a good start.
That's a good start. I mean, babes, congratulations. We need to start with Day of the Jackal. And honestly, I felt like my eyebrows were going to blow off from the stress, the explosions.
Really?
Everything is very intense.
It is intense.
It is intense, but you're used to intensity in your roles. You need something light, babe.
I need a comedy. Like, what's going on? But I'm starting to think that it's me, you know? It's not the intensity surrounding me. It's just me. I'm intense.
Yeah.
It's something I found out like 5 minutes ago. I didn't understand why they were calling me to do that character. I was like, wait a minute. She has no character, you know? I was a little bit shocked. And I remember the first Zooms I had with the producers and Brian, the director, and everything. I felt so uncomfortable because I was asking questions nonstop with all these old guys. It was just me like, why is she doing that? And why? And that was because they only sent me the 3 first episodes. So I couldn't see the arc of the character. And I was like, what the hell? Like, why are they calling me to do this? And then I was like, okay, this can be a very good opportunity to do something different. And as I said, for me, it's very interesting to see a trophy wife with no aspirations in life empowering herself.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. And that's human, too.
I mean, it's so relatable on so many levels because I think when we're so obsessed with people as well, we can really ignore the red flags. What is your biggest red flag in a person?
With men?
It can be, or even just anything.
I was just thinking about men. I don't know why.
Always on the mind.
Maybe some of my ex-boyfriends. But I would say the way a man treats the woman in his family. I think that's like important.
It's that and how they talk to waiters.
It's so true. It's true.
At the end of the day, babes, we're all learning. So we got to forgive ourselves.
We never stop.
We never stop.
Learning. I think I've learned enough. I don't think I want to learn anymore. Anything else, you know? I had enough. You know, because sometimes when something bad is like, but at least we're learning from this, right? And I'm like, I don't want to suffer anymore. I know it all already.
It's so true when you're just like, when people are like, this is a time of great growth, and you're like, oh my God, I'm sick
Stop
of
it. Stop it. I had enough. That's so true.
So true.
I'm in that moment in my life, you know?
Because you're 35, right?
Yeah.
I'm 35. I do definitely think it's like a mid-30s thing. I mean, you get to your mid-30s and you're like, oh God, we're still going at this.
35, and I'm like, no, I am learning now. I knew nothing when I was 30, you know?
I think everyone gets to that stage in life and then you look back and then they think, oh God, I thought I was so grown at that point. And actually, that's when you realize the growth never stops.
That's life, I guess.
That's life.
That's life.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to also ask you about Nuria's character arc because we've talked a little bit about her finding her power. And there's always a time in life, I think, where you truly find your power. And that is what the Rain podcast is all about, finding your power. When do you really feel like you found your power?
When I learned to put my own boundaries, like limits, saying no as well. That was very hard for me to say no. But then I realized that every time I was saying no to something that I didn't like, it was to saying yes to myself.
I love that.
You know what I mean? And I was like, ooh, it feels good. But it's very difficult when you're younger, like to be, because you really want to be pleasant with people. Can you say that?
Yeah, people pleaser.
People pleaser?
Yeah.
Okay, that's an expression.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that one.
We're learning so much today.
Yeah. Stop it.
The growth. Damn it.
Keep learning. But yeah, I would say to say no. Yeah, when I learned that. Still learning.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
When did you start to put boundaries in place in your life and start saying
At
no?
work. That was very difficult for me. Because, you know, when you know, like, your family, you feel confident enough, you're not afraid of being, like, judged.
Yeah.
But when you're an actress, you just want to be nice, right? Otherwise, you're like the evil star.
Yeah.
So I was just putting so much of my energy to be nice, and I was caring a lot about what other could say about me, others. So, yeah, I was like, and then I was swallow all the bad things because I didn't want to. Yeah, I didn't want to be like rude or something. But it's not about being rude. It's just about saying respectfully, like, I don't like this. I need this to do my job properly. Or, listen, you said that before. I didn't feel good with that, or something like that. Like, express yourself, you know. I think that's difficult. It was difficult for me. Now it feels amazing. Now it feels very good.
Yeah. It's the best when you can find your voice.
And also not freaking out. Not doing a big deal of it. Sometimes you spend more time worrying about something or worrying about how to say something to somebody than just facing the problem, you know? Then it's like, oh, I should have done it before.
I should have done it weeks ago.
Yeah.
The amount of things like that I put off, like awkward conversations I have with my friends. I'm like, I need to tell them I'm not going to this wedding or something like that. And I'll put it off for weeks and weeks. And you get to the end of it and you're like, oh God, this is actually so easy.
I know. And my therapist says that if you have a problem, you shouldn't wait more than 24 hours to solve it.
That's really good advice.
Because then you start to get loopy with and you get a little bit paranoid as well. It's a big deal. And then it's like, oh, it was pretty easy.
All part of the growth. Literally. When are you proudest of advocating for yourself, using your voice and standing up for yourself?
I think you can't be respectful with others if you're not respectful with yourself first. It's something I learned. My boyfriend is very, like, straight, like, very honest. Sometimes it hurts. And I was just the opposite. But I learned that from him. It's not a big deal. Say it. It's very difficult sometimes to find the balance between the good things and the bad things. Because sometimes I really like bad things. I need some bad thing. I need I don't know, shitty burger.
We all need one of those, babe.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But I think life is about finding the balance, because if you're just so obsessed about doing the right thing all the time, I don't think that's healthy either. I really like to take care of myself. Yeah. But sometimes, because I'm a control freak, sometimes I just need to let it go, you know? Yeah. One day I need to get drunk.
I am right there with you.
I need it.
Why are we not doing that now?
Well,
we should be hitting the town.
I'm doing a promotion, babe. This is my first interview. Yeah. Give me a break. Yeah. Can you imagine? I'm struggling because I have to speak English. Can you imagine if I'm drunk? Like, it's going to be a mess.
Or just the most wildly entertaining
well,
thing
sometimes
we've
it
ever
happens.
Seen. Yeah.
Sometimes it happens, especially with English. If you're a little bit like, how do you say it when you're a little bit drunk?
Tipsy.
How?
tipsy.
Tipsy. If you're a little bit tipsy, sometimes it helps.
Yeah.
Just to relax and
Because it's interesting what you're saying about finding your voice. Because when I was researching all about your amazing career that you had before you made it so big with Money Heist, you were like working since you were like 6 years old, right?
Yeah.
And it's always really interesting talking to people on this podcast who started working really young, because it can be very hard to find your voice when you're constantly surrounded by adults all the time. What was that experience like for you?
I think it has a lot to do with what you're saying. Like, I remember my mom didn't like to be on set with me because she had the feeling that she was bothering people because everybody was working. So by the time I was like, I don't know, 7 or 8 years old, she used to drive me to the shootings. And then when I was done, she used to pick me up because also it's a very small industry. So I already knew everybody. But I remember a sentence, a line my mom said, like, behave yourself. And it wasn't like in a bad mood, you know? It's something normal your mom says when you're like 7 years old. Like, be nice, behave yourself. And now I think about it, and it wasn't good for me because it's all about being a girl. It's about being young, as you said, and surrounded by adults. And it's about being, if you are saying behave yourself, that means don't speak up, you say?
Yeah.
If you need something, just stay quiet. So I know her intentions weren't bad because it's something we say to, kids. But now that I think about it, I have the feeling that I grow up being on set and trying not to generate trouble. So now I'm not interested on behaving myself anymore.
That is what we love to hear. Because it's hard.
I mean,
it's
it's important to be respectful.
Yeah.
But what does behave yourself mean? I don't get the point.
It's literally about changing yourself in order to accommodate others. And that isn't what we should be doing in our lives.
And you know what happened? There are a lot of people on set. It's like a big brother. And it's impossible to please everyone. And it's impossible that you have this chemistry with everyone. There will be people and that you have to deal with for 6 months, every day, 12 hours a day, that you don't like them. It's about energy sometimes, or it's about something happened, like about facts, but you don't like some people. We're a lot of people sharing. So what does behave yourself mean? It's about being respectful. It's about being professional, disciplined, can you say that?
Yeah.
But not about being perfect.
No.
Or like trying not to generate trouble. I don't think it's about that.
Yeah, and I think it's a very sexist way of looking at someone using their voice.
Yeah, it's empowering.
Yeah, because if, for instance, like if a man used their voice on set in a certain way, they would never have to worry about being seen as a diva. But if a woman uses her voice,
the diva thing.
Yeah, you have a lot of anxiety around. Okay, if I use my voice, people are going to start thinking I am, in inverted commas, difficult. Whereas that is not seen as the same for the man.
And that doesn't mean that it comes naturally from me. I'm still working on that. But I think it's important,
Because you had to have, in the last few years, such a huge life change.
Yeah, I know.
Like, you literally blew up like overnight when you were in Money Heist. What was difficult about that life change?
I felt very exposed everywhere in the world. So I had the feeling that maybe somebody could hurt me. I felt unprotected. Can you say that in English?
Yeah.
But it was all in my head. I remember one day my boyfriend, because I didn't realize until my boyfriend told me that I didn't really want to go out home. I was like trying.
Reclusive.
Yeah. And I remember my boyfriend one day said, "People love you. Everybody you are in the streets, people just have good words and good intentions with you. They love you. You don't have to be scared of them." And I remember I started crying nonstop. That got me very emotional, because it was true. It is true. But sometimes, I don't know, I guess it happens with something new in your life. Right? That new things brings you like you've never done that before, so you feel scared about it because you don't know how it's gonna be, right? So I guess that was the beginning of dealing with this crazy thing that happened with Money Heist. They teach you a lot of things to get the success in your life, but you never learn how to deal with the success once you have it. So what's the point? Because I think it has no sense to be successful if you don't enjoy what you do,
How have you worked on your mental strength and your mental health? How do you work on that?
My mom was my reference. My mom has now 60 years old, 62. And she's the best. She's like, "Have you seen how pretty I am today?" And I'm like, I just love her, I guess I grew up with these positive messages. The only negative message was behave yourself.
And we're still unpacking
I don't
that.
blame her.
No.
No. Yeah. My mom is the best. And my mom has always have these very positive messages to me and my sister. So we feel empowered because of her, I guess. I remember I come from a very humble family, very, very humble family. So the resources were not a lot. And I knew, I was 5 years old, and I knew that I wanted to be an actress. And I knew it. I never thought I would like to be an actress. No. My mom says that I was like, when I will be an actress, I will do this, I will buy you a house, I will do that. My mom and my dad were like, this girl, that's
Who is
scary.
she?
That's scary, And I remember my mom saying to me, whatever you want to do in life, if you really want to do it, you will get it. You will make it. There's no limits. You can do whatever you want. You can achieve whatever you want. So growing up with that message, I think that's very powerful.
Yeah.
And I don't think everybody gets the chance to grow up like this, right?
And you've done it.
And
You've
I've
done
done
what 5-year-old you
Still working,
said
still.
you were going to do.
But I'm on that path. Yeah.
If 5-year-old you was sat here now, what would you say to her?
I would say be patient. You'll make it. Be patient. Don't struggle. Because I've always been very, how do you say, the opposite from patient?
Impatient.
Impatient, thank you.